We are recording.
Doesn't always make it all the way down, Tim. Meeting, please come to order. Barbara, please call the roll.
We have Commissioners Levine, Berard, McLean Hill, Noonan, and Vasquez present.
This proceeding is broadcast on Channel 35. The exact broadcast times can be found by contacting Channel 35. Brief opening remarks just in terms of process today. One of our commissioners needs to leave relatively early, so we are going to adjust the process somewhat. We are going to go through items 1 through 8A, and that will include whatever items are on the consent calendar. We will deal with those. And then before hearing the longer management reports on 8B and 8C, we're going to go into closed session and then come back and hear the Design Build Services San Fernando Basin Groundwater Remediation Report and the budget, which are our longer management report items. So for those of you who are here for whatever, I just wanted you to be aware of that's the sequence of events that will be proceeding. We will do the Society of Women Engineers update before breaking for the closed session. With that, we have one public comment card, I understand. Barbara?
Yes, the public speaker is Jeannie Plum.
Honorable President and members of the board, my name is Jeannie Plum. I'm a citizen of the Los Angeles City, resident 10755 DeSoto Avenue, Chatsworth. I'm appearing before you today to ask that you direct the staff of the DWP to provide the information requested 2.5 years ago to the Planning Department needed to advance the resolution of the complaint I filed 40 months ago seeking to remove your obstructions from the public required equestrian trail that is mentioned in the incorporated material that I handed out. The track conditions are succinct. They were approved by the City of Los Angeles before construction started. These obstructions threaten both riders and horses with risk to injury to the animals and to the people riding them, and they are completely contrary to the express conditions of the approved tentative tract map. I filed this complaint October 8th, 2015, and it was denied by the various departments, passed around to Public Works, Department of Engineering, and City Planning. You'll see the complaint letter to Building and Safety, which also passed it off. No decision has been issued by the zoning administrator after the hearing on August 28th, 2017, because they are waiting for, quote, information for the improvements of the trail from your Department of Water and Power. A copy of the email from the zoning administrator to my lawyer is incorporated in your material for verification. A decision on this appeal to the zoning administrator is needed to advance my case and to get resolution of this equestrian trail issue so that the public can use the trail. I hope you will agree that waiting more than 1,200 days is long enough. Please direct your staff to give the highest priority to send the information to the zoning administrator. My contact information is on the last page of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
General Manager.
Thank you. I'm sorry. 2 items. One is that I wanted to mention that Rayco Kerr is participating in a Department of Energy study on grid modernization, which is managed by the National Academy of Sciences, and I'm very pleased to say she's the only utility represented in this nationwide study. So we're very lucky to have her participating in that study. And I'm going to turn to Rich, the other one.
No, you. Hot potato. Good morning. I just wanted to bring an update to you on some legislation and efforts involving a project in the desert known as the Cadiz Water Project. This item was of interest to the board back in middle of 2017. And there's been some recent legislation introduced in February this year. So I just wanted to update because I know it was a lot of interest and a lot of discussion at the board back in the time. So back in July 2008, July 18, 2017, we had a first presentation to the board at the request of President Levine about the Cadiz project. And then on August 1st, we had an updated presentation along with 44 speakers, which those of you who were at the board at the time will remember that morning. There was a lot of discussion about the project's merits. And then in October 15th, this board approved recommending that the City Council, there was a resolution by Council Members Rue and Kretz. So the recommendation for this board was for the City Council to approve that resolution and asking the council to support, at that time was AB 1000, which was by Assemblymember Friedman, which was a legislation in Sacramento calling for more environmental review by the state over the Cadiz project and other projects that might occur in that area of the Mojave Desert. That bill, for reasons I couldn't quite determine, never went to a vote in Sacramento after a couple committee hearings. Recently, mid-February this year, Senator Roth and Portantino and Allen, along with co-authored by Assemblymember Friedman, put together Senate Bill 307, which is going to go to a committee hearing later this month. And then that bill is virtually identical to AB 1000. There's a little bit of change in how the area is identified, kind of cleaning up the area of the Mojave Desert that's of concern. At this point, there is no council motion in place to support that bill. The mayor last Friday did write a personal letter supporting the bill, but as you may recall, the city council has to vote for the city to take an official position. So I just wanted to update you on this issue because I know it was of concern before, and now we have another shot at legislation in Sacramento that may put some more teeth into reviewing the project.
Marty, I appreciate the update, and I'm sure my fellow commissioners do as well. In light of the fact that we learned about this too soon to formally act on it, and also in light of the fact that our formal action really is, all that we can do is request that the city council take action, and in light of the fact that the mayor has already acted in support of the bill, sent his own personal letter of support, I would request, especially, and I hope there'll be no objection from any of my colleagues, I'd request that you follow up and suggest to council members Rue and Koretz to see if they could put together a city council letter of support for this bill in the same manner in which they did the Friedman Bill AB 1000. As you indicated, the legislation is substantively identical, and the language is substantially identical. There are a few very minor changes, but the legislation, SB 307, is designed to accomplish exactly what AB 1000 was designed to accomplish, and having the city's support, I think, would be very helpful.
Certainly, I'll work with Wendy, and we'll follow up with the council members.
Great. And do you regret that we don't have the 44 witnesses to have this discussion?
I recall a very long morning.
Thank you, Marty.
Thank you.
Dave, anything more? Okay, thank you very much. Comments from commissioners on agendized items and requests from commissioners relating to departmental operations.
I simply would like to reiterate how impressed I am with our insurance division for item number 14. So although I have expertise in liability issues, I did ask 3 very prominent insurance people about the monies being asked from our ratepayers. And all 3, who I consider the best in their field, stated that the department has done an outstanding job, that they have not seen such great terms for this past year. So I just want to commend you and your staff.
Other comments? Commissioner Barad.
Thank you. I'd like to talk about an issue that we discussed, an item from the last board meeting, if that's appropriate. And that was the customer bill of rights And at that time, I'd asked the question whether this applies to residential customers and commercial or just residential. And I would like to talk about that because I have concerns if this is just relating to residential customers, because our commercial customers are our ratepayers as well as the residential. And you know, LA has this reputation of not being business friendly. And I think of course, we want to be a business friendly city. And this is one of the best ways to do this, is to show that we are more responsive to business. And I think if we will be seen as more business friendly, if we put in here that we'll be responsive to business as well as to residential customers. And I think it makes more sense than by reducing business taxes, because it's more effective, it's more cost effective than, and we don't have to reduce the city's revenues by reducing business taxes. So I would like to ask the staff to go back and look at, now in our PowerPoint, let's see, it doesn't have a page number on it, but this was the Customer Bill of Rights reauthorization as of February 26th. And it's under new service level commitments, and it's the second paragraph, power service installation. I would like to redefine customers so that it's commercial customers as well as residential.
Commissioner, if I may respond, Brad Hudson, CAO. The service requirements don't differentiate between commercial and residential. We are committed to those requirements that are outlined in the report you're looking at for both.
Well, how do we know that looking at what we have here? I mean, it doesn't say that at all.
I think the fact that we didn't differentiate it means that it applies to everyone.
Well, I don't think that's a satisfactory response.
I can bring back some thoughts on maybe some clearer language if that would be beneficial. Would you like that?
Yes, I would.
Okay.
I would, because I think that saying commercial, then it shows that we are attempting to be a business-friendly city and including our business customers as well.
Could be happy to bring that back to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ratepayer advocate.
I may have some comments on the presentations.
Okay. Discussion with neighborhood council representatives on any neighborhood council resolution or community impact statement filed with the city clerk which relate to any agenda item listed or being considered on this agenda for the Water and Power Board.
No community impact statements or formal positions were filed by any neighborhood councils on the items on today's agenda.
Thank you. Okay, at this moment, in terms of the open agenda, we have items 11 through 20. Do any commissioners wish to remove any of those items from the consent calendar?
I request items 18 and 20 be removed.
18 and 20. Any others?
18 as well.
Well, that's both of you. Okay. Any others? Okay, do I have a motion to approve items 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 19?
So moved.
Second, those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, those are all approved. So items 18 and 20 are left to be heard after our closed session. We will now move to item 8A, the Society of Women Engineers update.
Thank you, and I'd like to make some introductions as our staff are coming forward. Last year on March 8th, over 100 members of LEDWP gathered to launch the Society of Women Engineers Professional Affiliate Group. We're honored at that point to have Commissioners Noonan and Vasquez participate in the kickoff event. And 1 year later, we've asked leadership from LEDWP SWE to give an update on the group's many activities and accomplishments since that launch. And so today we have Leah Malott, and she is the president and a civil engineering associate in Water Distribution Division. Savi Valdez, who's the vice president for power and an electrical engineer in the Power System Safety Group, and Darlene Trong, who is the vice president for water and a civil engineering associate in the Water Distribution Division. So go ahead and take it away.
Welcome.
Right. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Wright, for the introduction, and commissioners for this wonderful opportunity. We're very excited to be here. So prior to starting our presentation, I would like to show you a very short video that shows different activities of our members and their messages directly from the members. Thank you.
Why don't we have music for all our presentations?
My name is Jennifer Gill. I'm a structural engineering associate, and I am a charter member of LEDWP Suite.
Hello, my name is Evelyn Smith-Lynch, and I'm a safety supervisor, and I'm a charter member of LEDWP Suite.
I am a proud member of LEDWP Suite.
Mandy Leonard, Director of Water Quality, and a proud charter member of LEDWP Suite.
Great video.
Thank you. So now if you've met some of our members and seen some of the fantastic events that we've done, let us tell you more about our members. We have established a group that is being supported across the organization. To date, we have 170 members, of which 64% are charter members. And these are the members that signed up during our first membership drive last year. 28% of our members are male. 14% are in non-STEM related fields. Our membership constitutes 36 different classifications. Now that is the diversity that we promote.
All right, so LEDWP Suite has three-leg strategy, which is to support, recruit, and transform. So in terms of supporting our members, we have held a series of leadership training classes. As you can see, the very top picture that shows a roundtable discussion with our leaders in the department, and also held a few networking events as well. And the picture down below that was taken last week when we celebrate International Women's Day along with our second all members meeting. On that event, we had the privilege of having Commissioner Banks-Broad present in there and giving very inspirational message to our members, and thank you for that time. As far as recruit is concerned, LEDWP has already have a very established recruitment effort, so SWE's part on that is to support that effort. So to that end, we have traveled last October to Minneapolis to be part of Society of Women Engineers National Conference and be representing LEDWP and participate in the job fair. And the bottom picture you see is two of our officers had the opportunity to do a presentation, and that opened doors for LEDWP to be more visible on a national platform. The third one is transform, means looking at the next generation of girls to be more interested in science, engineering, and technology. And we've had our engineers participate in high school events, elementary and middle school. The first picture you see is our engineers participating in a high school event. And down below was back in September, LADWP had hosted a Girl Scout event with 200 students and their parents present. And Commissioner Vasquez was there and giving a keynote speech. And thank you for that time as well. And our engineers were in the panel. We answered some of the questions the students had and also encouraged them to be part of a STEM field.
So, and here is a list of some of our future events under each category that was discussed. So for support, we have our continued leadership training series as well as a King's Game for networking. And then in support of LADWP recruitment efforts, we are attending several regional conferences in Bellevue and Denver, and also our national conference here in Anaheim. And then finally, for Transform, we have our Inspiring the Next Generation event that is STEM focused.
So thank you, all of you, for your support. And we do have our board of directors here with us today. If you could just stand up. And also we have other members in the audience that came here to support with us. So if you could just stand up. All right. Okay. So on behalf of LADWP SWE, we would like to present to each of you commissioners our honorary charter member certificate, and I will be reading that certificate, and if we have time, we would like to take a picture with you and present these certificates over to you. So,
absolutely.
Thank you. So Commissioner Mel Levine, this is a certificate for you. It's hereby bestowed the title of Honorary Charter Member for contributing to the landmark inception of LADWP SWE Professional Affiliate Group through the leadership of the Board of Commissioners. Your commitment will actively support the women working in engineering, science, and technology at LADWP. So before the picture, if you have time, then we will take any questions or we'll answer any questions you may have.
Are there questions, comments, or compliments? That,
Only compliments.
Commissioner Barat.
Yes, I have many compliments, and I wanted to thank you again for inviting me. It was an honor to speak before your group, and it's a very impressive group of women and men. And would hope to meet with you again. I'm looking forward to King's Night, because we don't like the Ducks. Sorry, that was just an aside. Yes, and
we always get candor from Commissioner Barat.
Okay. Yes, so I just very impressed with everyone, and they're very friendly. And I didn't read the memo that I was supposed to wear red that day, and I was dressed in blue and yellow.
Good colors.
And,
for the Bruins in the house, very good colors.
Yes. Yes.
Dark blue, especially.
Yes, and so one of the women there, I admired her red jacket, and she said, "Here, you can have it." And so I wore the red jacket for the rest of the day, and actually wore it for 2 more days afterwards with me. And my husband said, "You know, I don't remember that you ever bought that." He's not very visual. Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, I just want to say that I'm impressed that you could differentiate between the Kings and the Ducks. I was trying to figure out what the Kings were, but so, basketball. In any event, I just genuinely regret that I was not able to be with you last week. I literally canceled at the last moment as I was just trying so hard to put on the red dress and thought, I can't even get dressed, let alone get out of this house and down the street to the department. But what I do want to say is that what you do really matters, and I am so proud and so excited that you do it. I remember 100 years ago when I started practicing law. I was 23 years old, and the firm that I joined, I was the 3rd woman to join that firm. and the only African American that had ever worked there. And so, you know, examples and role models and people that are willing to extend themselves and to show up and to let especially young people know that something is possible can make all the difference in the world. And then finally, the amount of support for who you are and what you do is tremendous. If there's one thing that has been universal in terms of my interaction with people who are concerned with and interested with and champions of this department, it is their interest in seeing more women, you know, both at every level. And so this is how you get it done. Congratulations, and thank you for not only your tremendous contribution to DWP, but for your contribution to, you know, changing the world kind of one interaction at a time.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Commissioner Vasquez.
I want to thank you so much for including me last year and always include me on the plans that you have been fostering with this SWAY group. It's an exciting time to be a woman in many ways, not just here at the department, but also in the world. And I want to make sure that you know how important is representation and how much it matters. And as you continue working on this program and mentoring younger girls and just being out there and encouraging other young people, not just girls, to take on an engineering career and also see the Department of Water and Power as a place where they can thrive and where they can be themselves and where they can bring their ideas and where they can impact this utility. And as we do that, we also impacting Los Angeles and impacting every neighborhood and impacting the world. I'm not going to go on with the women can do it better, because I think there's a lot of men that can do it as well, very well. But I do believe that at the department we can definitely do better, and we are doing better. I mean, if you look around, we have such incredible women in leadership. 10 years ago when I started working with the department, we never saw women here. I mean, look, we're composed by majority of women commissioners, and that is so exciting. This means so much. I go out there in my office hours, and when I speak to people, and when I share with them that we're a diverse group of women, people are always at awe that at DWP this is happening. And I think that what you're doing is just a reflection of the leadership, not just by here by the Department of Water and Power, but also by Mayor Garcetti and his administration, which has put women at the center and at the forefront of getting us in positions where we have not only authority, but also decision making. So thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to working more with you and continue supporting other groups that should also be represented here. Thank you.
Well, my female colleagues have pretty much summed up my view as well. As the most recent male charter member of LADWP, I want to thank you for that privilege. And I want to say how proud I am of this department. And you're on the front lines of making a real difference. And this is going to be important for women and girls in the future who are going to understand in ways that when I was growing up and before, and actually even somewhat after, girls didn't realize that they had these opportunities, and they really didn't have these opportunities by and large. Now they do, but they need leaders to show them and to be exemplars. And that's exactly what you're doing. So I'm very proud of what you're doing, and I want to compliment you for it.
Thank you.
And there's definitely time for a picture. So I'd encourage your entire group to come up here and join us. And we have a very gifted photographer as well who will tell everybody where to stand.
Back here. Oh my goodness, thank you.
Cynthia, let's move it. Thank you. Wow. How are we going to do this?
Recipients of the award will all in the center. Just have everyone gather around you.
Okay, so we need to make sure everyone can see.
Donna.
We're going to have a second row behind you.
We don't have Thunderbird here, no one else will be able to see.
Get on the picture.
You all like everybody else.
You did better than that,
It's
right?
all right. Well, yeah, okay. Oh, so up here.
Everybody sideways. Sides.
We have room on this side. So a couple of you want to go through the back area. Come on the other side.
Facing that way? Okay. And then you facing this way? Mr. Wright? Please? Remember.
Marty, right?
Okay. Let's see. How this will work.
Adam, where's your certificate?
Yeah, that's good.
Decided to try to organize the picture.
Okay. All right. Okay, so we have everyone. I'm going to take the important photo here. A little bit more. Doing it just a little bit. Back up as much as I can. There we go. All right. Okay, here's the first one. Big smile, everyone. Okay, here we go again. On two, ready, 1, 2. Here we go again. That's good. On two, ready, 1, 2. Okay, hang on. I'm putting your phone right here. Don't forget it. I've taken many a phone and stuck it in my pocket by mistake. I don't want to do that. Okay, here we go. Let's see how this looks.
Get closer.
Okay, here we go. Here. Okay, here's the first one. Big smile. On two. Ready. 1, 2. Let's see how we're looking. Oh, yeah, here we go. We're doing good. We're doing
There's
good.
no longer a 3.
Okay, here we go. On two. Squeeze in on this side just a little bit. Get friendly. Okay, there you go. All right. Here we go again. Big smile. On two. Ready. 1, 2. Very nice. Here we go again. Big smile. On two. Ready. 1, 2. Here we go again. Big smile. 1, 2. Okay, most important, big group hug, everybody. Group hug. There we go. Group hug. You folks gotta get him. Big hug, you folks. This side. Yeah. There we go. Big. That's good. Here's one. Here's another one right here. Excellent. Thank you.
I know. Thank you.
It's like being a every board member.
Thank you. Excellent. Perfect.
Okay. I think I have one smile left.
We're going to give you the Vaseline for your teeth. So, that's a modeling thing.
Okay, council, it's balls in your court.
Hate to kill the joyful mood, but at this point, we will recess into closed session, and in accordance with California Government Code Section 54957.1, we'll report any final actions taken therein. We are in recess.
Very well done.
Nice read, Joe.
He's my hero.
Recording?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're recording.
Meeting, please come back to order. We have 2 items left on the
Agenda.
public agenda and 2 management reports. So we'll go to the 2 agenda items first. Item number 18, Sustainability Amendment number 1 to Memorandum of Understanding for the Conserving for Our Kids program between LADWP and LAUSD.
Good afternoon, Commissioners, President. I'm David Jaco, Director of Efficiency Solutions for the department, and I also have with me Craig Tranby from our Strategy and Analysis Group, who oversees a lot of these efforts. Okay, we're here to present this item to extend for time only the memorandum of understanding we have with LAUSD. To help them enhance the efficiency of their schools through a number of targeted approaches. The previous MOU, or the existing one that expired in 2018, ran for 3 years, from 2015 to 2018. There are a variety of reasons why the ramp up for that was slow. And so what's happened is we have exhausted the 3-year time frame, but not accomplished everything we set out to do with the funding that was allocated to that. We're proposing an extension through 2020, October of 2020. That results in a maximum 5-year total MOU from 2015 to 2020, which is as long as we can extend, as long as LAUSD can extend it. But again, I'm going to stress there's no additional funding sought to be committed to it beyond what this board had committed to originally in 2015. Just want to give some highlights and information on what's been accomplished thus far through the MOU. There's a direct install component. That's direct install lighting primarily in schools. And we've already completed the schools in the left column you see there, about 12 schools, about 2.7 million kilowatt hours of annual savings in energy, and that's saving LAUSD about $430,000 a year on their electric bill. We currently have assessed and pending the 21 schools you see listed there, and we're estimating another 5.8 million kilowatt hours potentially to be saved by that. Once those schools are completed, there will probably be headroom remaining to do more, but right now this is what we have in the pipeline, ready to go pending approval of this item today. Another area covered by the Memorandum of Understanding is our support for their Proposition 39 projects. And that was the proposition back in 2013 that closed the corporate tax loophole and had those proceeds directed for a period of 5 years to schools, community college districts, but primarily K-12 schools. And so far they've gotten $3.6 million in incentives across 46 schools, and we see another 28 schools on tap to be completed by 2020 through this effort, which would be a real big energy savings producer for them. 25 gigawatt hours per year, which is about $4 million off their annual electric bills when this effort is done. There's also been a heavy focus on water conservation. We provided both water conservation incentives as well as work to develop the Bucket Brigade Educational Initiative for students. The conservation incentives have resulted in 1,217 high-efficiency toilets, almost 400 ultra-low-flow urinals, and is saving over 25 million gallons annually. The Bucket Brigade Initiative we credit Commissioner Barad with that idea, and it came out of the issue that the schools still had a drinking fountain flushing. That is completed now. They have remediated their flushing issue for the lead in the faucets. That's all been taken care of, and no flushing is continuing. However, we still have offered to continue to support the Bucket Brigade as an educational effort for students through neighborhood councils and through other events. And what it's worked out to is a very nice bucket, about half a gallon, that students take home, and then they can use it for things like capturing the water out of the sink or the shower when it's running before it gets hot, and then they can take that and pour it out on in the gardens and whatnot. And then finally, we also have in the MOU pilot activities, a variety of technology and educational pilot activities. And this is really to start helping the district figure out which technologies are ready for them to deploy within their own facilities from an emerging technology standpoint, what's ready for prime time, as well as educational opportunities for students. And so just to give you a rundown of some of them, LED technologies we've looked at for the lighting systems in the schools, STEM and sustainability to help promote science, technology, engineering, and math careers to students, urban heat island monitoring, ozone cleaning, plug load control evaluation, LASD Empowered, which is an energy use education program, rain systems, Heroes for Zero, we just did that, and soil moisture monitoring for additional water savings. A series of stormwater capture pilots have also been done under the aegis of that pilot bucket. Porter Middle School, San Fernando High School, San Fernando Middle School, and Haddon Middle School, saving a significant amount of water, 12 acre-feet per year, 4, 9, 6. But those are significant amounts of water that the schools are on track to save through the stormwater capture. And finally, additional education support, community partnership grants. We actually have some grants that focus every year on the LAUSD schools with activities, curriculum outreach reaching grades 2 through 12. We also do a lot through our communications group with educational programs such as the Science Bowl, Academic Decathlon, teacher training programs, LA Times in Education, electric safety, water recycling, the Theater of Will performances. That's been one of our grantees. Math and science lessons, and the LADWP Speakers Bureau is heavily involved with supporting the district. And so, again, our ask today is simply to give us more time. No additional funding is needed, just more time to complete the activities that were envisioned in the original MOU.
Questions, comments, Commissioner Barad?
Thank you. Thank you, David, for a good presentation. And I want to thank you for sending Craig over last week with Joe Romalo that gave me a briefing on this. Can you give us some more details about what you did in this program in terms of water and power in the various schools?
Sure. You mean in terms of
efficiency?
The energy savings? Absolutely. So through the direct install program that goes in and works with the schools to improve the energy efficiency of their lighting systems. As I mentioned, we've already got 2.7 million kilowatt hours of energy savings occurring annually from that, which again is reducing the district's bills by $430,000 per year. We've got another 21 schools scoped out for another 5.8 million kilowatt hours, which will save them almost $1 million a year, $930,000 per year. The Prop 39 projects are also advancing very nicely. We use direct install, just to give a little background here. The direct install approach is great if a school is primarily a lighting opportunity, a lighting retrofit opportunity. If a school has a more complicated set of opportunities, specifically HVAC retrofits or an envelope retrofit, meaning windows, cool roofs, insulation, and whatnot, or some combination of those, then we don't do that through direct installation because we only offer the lighting. The lighting is free, is cost effective to offer for free, but those others are more expensive measures. The Prop 39 program is perfect for those, and so those projects will be sent over to Prop 39 for the support there. And like I said, we've got 3.8 million kilowatt hours already occurring annually in terms of savings through that program, saving them $600,000 per year. And then we've scoped out an additional 13.2 million kilowatt hours through those Prop 39 projects, all slated to be done by 2020, and that will save them another $2.1 million per year on their bills.
Well, as you mentioned, that a lot of this happened because of the water that was being flushed down the drain, flushing out the water fountains throughout the school district. So there are no more flushing?
Correct.
So does that mean there's no lead in any of the water?
The lead fixtures have all been remediated. We also have Christos Chrysalou here from LAUSD who can talk a little bit more about the exact specifics on that. And I would like to invite Christos up to the table.
Okay. I remember Chris. Took me a while to
Good
know
afternoon.
how to pronounce your last name, but
That's right, Chrysilio. Christos Chrysilio with the LA Unified School
yes,
District.
nice to see you again.
Good to see you as well. Thanks for having us here, and it's a great opportunity to be here to present with the rest of the team on this great program.
Yeah.
This is a wonderful partnership, so we're excited to be here.
Okay. And I want you to know that we have some more schools lined up for the Bucket Brigade in the Northeast Valley. And Councilwoman Martinez is very excited about having this program kick off in the northeast part of the valley. And we've got it about 3 schools. We're working on 5 now to kick off the program there.
Great.
Yeah.
And as you know, we have the buckets in stock, and we can order more as needed. So as the
good.
program advances and is more
Yeah.
successful, we'll certainly resource that.
Good. Thank you very much. Okay. So there's no money involved in this? It's just a matter of extending the MOU. Is that correct?
No incremental funding. We were unspent. We have unspent funds from the previous MOU, and we're just asking for more time to be able to spend more of those funds.
Okay. And then who is the point person at LAUSD? Is that Chris?
Yeah, so the point person in terms of the administrating the MOU, it's myself. And certainly Mr. Holvater, is there to support us in any way. And the point person from your side is Mr. Jaco, David Jaco.
Good. I think, and I mentioned before that the school board members didn't seem to be terribly aware of this program. And I would ask that you let the school board members know about this MOU and what we're doing to, to have more efficiency in both water and power.
I think that's a great idea. We got in front of them several years ago when this was first coming out, but obviously there's been a lot of turnover.
There has been.
And other distracting items.
Yes.
So yes, we definitely will get back in front
Yeah,
of the
they've had
SD
some
board.
problems over there, but this would be very good that you.
Yeah, let me just add to that. We're very excited about this program. So we've been briefing our board members, and actually there's we're going to take this on our agenda as well for approval to brief them in more detail, just like David did here, in terms of the accomplishments that we had on this wonderful opportunity. So we're excited because it's doing many things for us, not just the replacement of lighting fixtures only, but also the maintenance aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I can assure you that our director for MNO, Mr. Robert Latton, is very excited and very supportive of this program as well, because it saves us not just the efficiency that we're getting out of the fixtures, but it's also the last thing that we get out of these new fixtures and the time that we're saving to go and replace some of these existing fixtures that we have to go out and troubleshoot all the time.
Well, I think it's really important that students are imbued with this desire for conservation and they understand it at an early age. Because I know that those students that have the buckets are telling their parents how to use them and, not run the water while you're waiting for it to heat up or while you're brushing your teeth, things like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Other questions,
Yep.
comments?
Thank you so much for your presentation, Mr. Jaco. I think it's so important that we continue supporting our partnership with LAUSD, them being our biggest customer, not just because they're our biggest customer, but because they're such a big part of our community. I mean, they're educating our children, and in a way, all of the efforts that we make and the strives to get them more energy efficient, get them savings, the students also start learning about these things. And we got to start with, we got to start people young, learning about climate issues. I was very pleased to see heat islands, for example. That is an issue that you guys are addressing. And I actually, I'm in complete support of this MOU. I actually want to see it more robust in the future. I would like for you to come back, and especially now that we're looking for more generation in Basin, as we are now going to repower the 3 gas plants here in Basin in Los Angeles. I would love to see a very robust partnership with LAUSD where we do a microgrid style of project where they have battery storage and solar, and of course energy efficiency and all those other things. So as our youth grow and they're learning about math and history, they're also learning about engineering. They're also learning about, oh, we have solar in our home, this in our school. This is also possible for us. And they can start questions, and I want to also see an integration, which I'm sure is already happening at LAUSD, where we educate our students about all of the benefits of renewable energy, clean energy, and how they can maybe also integrate to STEM careers and STEM jobs. I think that we can no longer afford to have these ideas as something that you see in a textbook, but it's something that we have to experience and see in our schools. So I'm grateful that this partnership has fruition, and I'm looking forward to see definitely in the future some more conservation and such, also, of course, in water. But thank you.
I wanted to just respond a little bit to something you said that was so important. I just recently read a study that said for girls to look at engineering careers, really you have to start in elementary school. I don't know what boys, you know,
Right.
there wasn't,
Yeah,
they didn't talk about boys, but it said it was very distinct that to increase the numbers of women in engineering, you had to start in elementary school. So you're so right, and we're looking at what we can do to expand that knowledge and awareness, not just for girls and boys, but when they're 8 years old and 10 years old.
Absolutely.
That's truly when you have to start, but especially for girls, because studies actually said you've got to get to them then to give them that awareness. They can be an engineer and
Absolutely.
and so start working towards it.
I think I have seen the reports as well about women in engineering and women in STEM careers and how you got to start a lot younger. I think also I would love to see this match with our equity metrics, where a lot of these programs and incentives also go to those communities that have high pollution, heat islands, that are most vulnerable. And we know that a lot of our students here at LAUSD are students of color. Some of them comes from very, very vulnerable homes and families. And the school system becomes then the second family and the foundation for them to have a better future. So I definitely think that the partnership with LADWP can be very strong, very robust, and it can transcend beyond just having rebates or benefits, but can actually change the culture and the understanding that our youth has around STEM careers, engineering, renewable energy, climate change, pollution, and what's their role, like how they deserve these things also, as a lot of youth of color, come also to very vulnerable schools. You guys got me all passionate about it now.
Thank you very much. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second? Those in favor, aye.
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 Unanimously approved. Thanks for an excellent presentation and a good product.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioners.
We go to item 20 that Commissioner Noonan asked to be pulled. Do you want to hear this item? Commissioner Noonan?
Yeah, no, I'm deferring to.
I believe there was a question regarding the genesis of the agreement, and this agreement is required by the most recent MOU with the IBEW. As part of that MOU, it was agreed that JTI-JSI would form into one single entity. This agreement, this resolution effectuates that agreement, and the MOU also required that as of last year, the institute be funded by employee contributions as opposed to DWP contributions, and so that is also effectuated.
Yes, President Levine, I pulled this item off of our agenda simply to acknowledge the fact that there were issues involved with the partnership between the department and this Joint Safety Training Institute. And I just wanted to make certain that that we've taken the proper precautions and considerations to make sure that we support this in the most clean and ethical manner. So, thank you.
And Council, the funding for this will all be employee funded. It will not be ratepayer funded.
That is correct, Mr. President.
Dr. Pickle.
There was an e-comment from a member of the neighborhood council community, Tony Wilkinson, saying this wasn't available online. I checked, and it appears to be available online now, the trust agreement.
Good.
Yeah, it was timely submitted with every other package, so it should have been on.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So move, and I just want to say that this is a real positive step forward for DWP.
I second and I agree.
Thank you.
Those in favor?
Aye.
It's approved. Okay, we go to the two management reports. The first one, the proposed award of progressive design build services for San Fernando Basin groundwater remediation.
So in recent meetings, this board has adopted several reports that allow us to move forward on the design and construction of two groundwater remediation facilities. And at the table now is Susan Ragani, who is our Director of Water Engineering Technical Services, and Aaron Lawrence from Supply Chain, who's the Supply Services Manager. They're going to explain how the vendor that was selected was brought through our new Simplar process. That is a process that Gwen Williams brought to us a number of years ago. So they explained that, and as well as the contract will be delivered under a progressive design build model, which is the first for, at least for the water system. They're going to explain how that's going to work as well. So this is just for informational only. The award of the contract will be brought to the board hopefully in April. Susan.
So, good afternoon. So just to start, so we're doing this with our DWP remediation program for the San Fernando groundwater basin. So of course this is an important supply for us, local supply. As you're aware, we have 115 production wells in the San Fernando basin, and approximately 85 wells have become impaired due to contamination. So the remediation program directives, we have the requirements of the Mayor's Directive number 5, which of course is to say reduce the reliance on imported water, and also to have a strategy to look at groundwater remediation. And we also have an objective for the Sustainable City Plan, which is pretty much to try to clean up the San Fernando Basin, which this program is going to do. So Rich talked about the project delivery approach. Typically, when we bring something before the board, we have traditionally used something called a design bid build process, which is you have your design for the projects completed before you start construction. And so you would have a separate design and construction contract. The selection is based on lowest cost, and there's multiple points of accountability because you're dealing with a separate designer and typically a separate constructor. With what we're proposing for this particular project is something called the progressive design build, which basically a project design and construction perform concurrently, and there's a single contract award. So you have one entity responsible for the design and construction of the project. It's qualification-based selection, so it's not something that's low bid. So you're choosing the best qualified entity to do this process. And there's also a single point, like I said, of accountability, which makes it easier to deal with as far as any type of issues with any type of design and construction going forward. So I'm going to turn this over to Aaron, who's going to talk about becoming the owner of choice for this particular process.
So, as Rich mentioned, about 2 years ago, we entered into an agreement with the Simplar Institute to help really reposition DWP to be an owner of choice. And what that means is we already have as the core fundamentals of all of our procurements that we have an open competition, that we're fair and ethical and transparent with all of our processes. And we're also focusing now on a best value selection, so we're really factoring in the quality and the quality of the candidates that we're selecting for these types of procurements. So as far as some of the studies and some of the things that Simplar's done, they've showed that best value is truly one of the biggest successes or determinants of success for these projects. So Simplar Institute, just a refresher on the background and who they are. It's a group of faculty and researchers from 7 different universities, and they assist various organizations with helping improve and streamline their procurement process. They've got a proven track record. They've done billions of dollars worth of procurements and have worked in military, private, government, all different types of agencies in the past. So for this specific procurement, since this is really the first one that is completed using some of their processes, LADWP received 5 proposals. Those proposals were all then evaluated. We made sure that they were compliant with all of the pass-fail requirements, that they met the subcontracting requirements, and all of the minimum and mandatory forms had been completed properly. And from there, the written evaluations were broken out and scored. And we followed Simplar's recommendations, and from there, interviewed all 5 firms. Now, some of the unique components about the new Simplar process that we've been using is that the evaluators all scored each one of the proposals individually. So there was no consensus meeting or discussion or no bias accidentally, whether it's subconsciously inserted, to influence their scores. So another feature that's really unique about this process is that the written proposals are actually anonymous. So the evaluation panel does not know which company submitted the forms that they've received. And then furthermore, they streamlined the actual rating scale. So it's a simple 1, 5, 10. 1 being unacceptable or not satisfactory, a 5 being acceptable or just satisfactory, and 10 being exceptional, showing that they have done something to demonstrate their expertise above and beyond what the other proposers have submitted. So as I mentioned, we interviewed all 5 firms in this case. The 5 positions that we interviewed were the project manager, design manager, pre-construction lead, construction project manager, and the site superintendent. Now, these were not a group interview, so the format of these interviews was different. We actually brought each key team member in individually to respond to all the questions. They were not allowed to give any substitutes or proxies, so we got to actually see the people who were going to be working on the job. And that really was able to help the evaluation panel gauge who they were going to be working with. Now, to kind of give you a breakdown of the overall scoring, this is kind of an excerpt. There were all the pass-fail requirements, which I've said all firms passed. And then the local business preference program is added on after this. But these are the main core elements of the evaluation criteria. The pieces that were anonymous are the approach and methodology, the risk assessment, and the value-added piece. Now, how these differ from our current process is that we currently don't have a risk assessment built into our proposal process, and we don't have kind of a value-add opportunity for vendors to really tell us about their innovation and the new things that they're bringing to the table. The cost piece of it is something that supply chain services scored with Simplar's assistance, and then same with the past performance. And then finally, you can see that the heaviest weight was placed on the interviews because we really were looking for quality teams to be working on this job. And then
How are you going to select the people who interview?
The vendors actually choose who they're recommending to work on this job and fill these positions. So we had identified the key personnel that we were interested in seeing beforehand, and they then proposed the individual team members to be interviewed.
Yes, but who from the department is interviewing them?
Oh, the evaluation panel. So the evaluation panel in this case consisted of members from operations, the construction management group, project management group, design group, So
Comprised of how many people?
5.
Okay, thank you.
And then, as I said, it was all individual, independent scoring. So I'll turn it over to Susan.
So, okay, so these agreements are for the 2 groundwater remediation projects, which is North Hollywood Centralized Treatment and the Tahunga Centralized Treatment Project. So we anticipate these projects will not cost, not to exceed over $408 million. So we are going for Prop 1 funding and up to 15%. We're anticipating up to 50% will be provided by this bond funds. And we need to procure, actually, in order to procure these funds, we need to have completion of these projects by June of 2023. So that's the time frame. So for the progressive design build monitoring and accountability, so how do we do progress monitoring? So the work is going to be assigned via task order. So we also have the support of an owner's agent. So who's the owner's agent? That's a consultant who has expertise in groundwater treatment and have also assisted us in the planning and preliminary design of these 2 projects. So they will help us with the task order and construction cost estimates and also provide expertise in technical and design review. We will have weekly meetings to review progress, and we also have staff involved with design and user reviews throughout the process. Simpler will also be assisting us in performance tracking, and there also is contractor performance evaluations that we're required to do with supply chain. So the other question is, how do we monitor cost? Well, in this particular process, there's something called open book negotiation of task orders, and that's something we typically don't see. So that's where we'll see the cost of doing business. So we'll actually see the profit, the overhead, subcontractor cost, and all their costs in terms of when they propose a cost to us for doing a particular task. For instance, we'll also have the monthly owner's agent review the project cost estimates because they have the expertise. And when we get to about 60% design, we anticipate negotiation what's called a guaranteed maximum price to finish the entire project. So that would finish the design and finish the construction. So that's the fixed price we would negotiate. And if perhaps we cannot come to agreement as far as what that particular cost should be, we would have an off-ramp where we could take that product and actually give it to another entity, so if we desire to do so, to finish the project.
At any time?
So pretty much, yes, we can. Of course, it's harder when you start construction and such, but if we can't negotiate some cost, we could say, okay, we'll have someone else finish it.
And we own the design up to that point,
yes.
So they don't walk off with anything.
So the next slide actually shows you the task order schedule. So this is the first task we anticipate is we'd give the entity the 30% design for evaluation. Once that's done, we would progress to 60%. We'd also progress, if that was good, to the guaranteed maximum price development and so forth until we felt comfortable to authorize the guaranteed maximum price to finish design and go into construction. Right now, construction is anticipated to complete by August of 2022, which is before the June 2023 deadline for funding. So if there's any questions.
I have some.
Please.
This is fascinating, actually. I can see advantages and some risks. Maybe I'm overreacting to this potential risk, but design and build rather than design and then build.
Yes.
What is the risk of not seeing a full design before construction begins?
So actually, it's an advantage to do it this way because you have the one entity that's responsible for designing it and also having to construct it. So a lot of times when you have 2 entities, one doing the design, the second doing the construction, and if you have an issue in the field, for instance, the constructor can say it, and
can't
sometimes
figure out.
say it's like, okay, the designer made a mistake. It's their fault. Or the designer said the constructor didn't know what they're doing. It's their fault. In this particular instance, because you have close collaboration with designer, constructor, and owner, you're able to actually look at these issues because you're the same entity responsible. So it's in everybody's best interest to try to resolve these before you get to a situation where you're trying to say it's someone else's.
I may be misunderstanding.
Yes.
In your remediation task order, you've got evaluate
Yes.
30% design, geotechnical, prepare 60%. At what point does the actual work start on the project? How much of the design will have been prepared by when construction begins?
Okay, so when we get to about 60% of design, we will enter into negotiations for the guaranteed maximum price. If we're come to agreement quickly, if there's, and we could agree and say this is it, that they potentially, if there's aspects of the design that they feel that they could go into construction, they could potentially start construction on portions of the design potentially that are completed. Of course, if it takes longer, we might have to wait longer. We have, let's say, 90% completed. So it really depends how the negotiations progress.
Now, you're planning on construction being complete 10 months before the
Yes, before the deadline for funds.
The Prop 1 deadline.
Correct.
How does one assess the risk of not meeting the deadline? And even if we meet the deadline, how does one evaluate the likelihood that we'll get the funds that you're assuming we'll get from Prop 1?
Okay, so I think with this particular schedule, we've also had the owner's agent help us in looking at this schedule for constructing these two plants, so to speak. And so because the owner's agent does have the expertise in doing this kind of construction and design, we feel that this is a reasonable accommodation of when we think we're going to be finished. And I'm sorry, your second question was?
The second one was, how is it that we are so confident that we'll get the Prop 1 funds?
So this is something that we're currently in negotiations with the state, and so they have funded us for the planning portion of it. So based on that and based on our negotiations, of course, we are hopeful that we'll get the 50%, but I'd be remiss if I said 100%, but this is what we're expecting based on the negotiations to date.
How much of an assurance will we get before we actually engage, beyond the point of no return?
Well, I think, okay, so when I look at this, I think at that point we should have some signed agreements to say that this is how much that the state is willing to fund before we start really getting into construction.
Okay, good. I wanted to hear that.
Okay.
Other questions?
In my opinion, just given the magnitude of the investment that we're making, which I think is a great one, I would like to hear from our ratepayer advocate. So, Dr. Pickle, do you have any comments or opinions about how we're moving forward with this endeavor?
One, we're encouraged as how competitive the process was, and use that as a standard for judging this. And the fact that it was independently scored and reviewed the way it was, we're helped. We have not had the materials to do a deep dive on this.
Thank you.
You're not looking for any action today. This is just to give us a modest heads up on a modest couple of projects.
Yes, exactly.
Well, very impressive, very much appreciated. We will look forward to ongoing presentations.
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, our next modest item to complete our agenda is the preliminary budget.
I wanted to just interject very quickly. Part of the procedure is that the board has to transmit a preliminary budget, and then we spend some time going over any changes that you might like to to submit a final budget by May 31st. Because those changes would probably have input from the entire board, and it's completely your choice. We can go through the whole presentation, or we can go through just those pages that are kind of overall numbers, and then spend some time over the next couple of meetings going through, here's the accomplishments, here's where we're going to focus on, here's areas of interest to the board, and spend a little bit more time going through kind of the accomplishments and the areas of focus when the full board is here.
Well, if we can break it down into segments and do a little deeper dive into each segment, I think that would be useful.
Over the next few meetings, yeah. So I'm thinking, and if we jump, say, to page 14 and just kind of do the kind of the numbers part right now, giving the board the high level, and then we'll discuss the accomplishments and the detail over the next several meetings so that we'll get greater board input. Do you see what I mean?
Fine, yes.
And I think going through the charts that show the stack charts, just those 2 or 3 pages for water and power would probably be enough.
Okay. So we're going to start the presentation on page 14, and I have Ben Trong and Marianne Ann's from the budget office at the table to assist. Reggie, if you could pull up the presentation, and we'll go to slide 14. So page 14 is the Power Revenue Fund Key Expenditure Plan, and on this slide you can see that our operating expenses for the full year are $1.58 billion. And from there, there's also, this is our fuel and purchase power budget. O&M costs, which is mostly labor, that's an additional $1.378 billion. We have property taxes of $17 million, and we have depreciation amortization of $669,000, for a total operating expenses of the power system of $3.65 billion. During fiscal year 1920, we anticipate making a $236 million transfer to the city. We'll have $631 million in debt service costs, and we will increase our net position by $227 million. This will give us a total revenue requirement for the power system of $4.243 billion, and that will support $1.716 billion of capital investments, and during the same time period, we will be doing $719 million in borrowing.
Where's the 719?
That's just my comment.
Oh, okay.
To make this program work.
Okay.
And with your approval of transmitting the preliminary budget, there's by no means approval of the bond sale. We always bring that back as a second item. On the next slide, we always break our expenses into categories to help functionally track those. So for the power system, we have power reliability programs, infrastructure, operating support, energy efficiency, and then renewable portfolio standards. So on slide 16 is a summary of the power system capital expenditure trend. And you can see that the power system reliability program is one of the largest ones. Comparing fiscal year 18-19 estimates to the 19-20 preliminary budget, our capital program is increasing by $208 million, or 14%, with a large chunk of that coming from our power system reliability programs and then from the infrastructure program. And I will comment here saying that we don't have all the estimates yet for the ones through cooling. We don't have the numbers in here yet, but we do have some dollars in here for demolition of Haynes and other areas where we're going to need room for land. So there's no repowering.
And that falls into what category?
That would be part of infrastructure.
And why don't we have more holistic estimates, for those endeavors?
I think the power system and the department as a whole needs to evaluate that. I think we have through 2020 to get those cost estimates in place. It's an endeavor we haven't done before.
Yeah, I'm very curious to understand what the entire cost will be. Mm-hmm.
So are a lot of people.
Me too. Turning to the next side is the Power Revenue Fund O&M expenditure trend. And comparing the 18-19 estimate to the 19-20 preliminary budget, our O&M increase is $85 million, or 7%. And from here you can see a large portion of that is our operating support, which is our joint organization, so customer service, financial services. A lot of groups participate in this area. And then power system reliability, we have a lot of O&M costs to keep our system up and running. And then the infrastructure program and a small portion of our renewable portfolio standard.
And can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
On the operating support, why does it increase from year 17, 18 to 19 and 20?
We have been putting customer service first, so we have hired additional customer service staff to keep our call times low, to go out and do meter work. So all of those costs are O&M in nature, and that's part of our joint organization. And when we developed the budget, we looked at the corporate strategic plan, we looked at the goals the mayor has set for the department, and we also looked at our 5-year rate action to make sure these items were in line. And then if we look at slide 18 for the power system, this is an overview of our fuel and purchase power trend. So comparing the 18-19 estimate to the 19-20, our fuel and purchase power budget increases by $13 million. And even though it's a slight increase of $13 million, we are increasing our renewables by $59 million, while we're decreasing our natural gas by $60 million. To help offset those costs. And you can see the largest portion of our fuel and purchase power budget is for our renewable resources. And then to take the same look at the water system, if we turn to slide 21, the water system has operating expenses of $960 million planned for the fiscal year, including $174 million for purchased water, $577 million for O&M. We have property taxes of $17 million and depreciation and amortization of $192 million planned. For water system, we have debt service of $373 million and an increase to our net position of $256 million. With these expenditures, it will be a revenue requirement of $1,394 million. During this time, we will be doing additional borrowing of $474 million, and that will be low-interest loans from the state and bonds. We'll always do low-interest loans because those are the most cost-effective resource for us. And then that will have a capital investment of $913 million. On the next slide are our categories for water system. We break our expenses into water quality, water infrastructure, water supply, Owens Valley regulatory compliance, and then again operating support. So on slide 23 is a summary of the water revenue fund capital expenditure trend, and comparing our 18-19 estimate to the 19-20 preliminary budget, we have an increase of $156 million. And infrastructure is the largest portion of that expenditure plan.
What are the main components of that?
Infrastructure, we have distribution mains for the 19-20 preliminary year of $192 million, trunk line system connections of $47 million, services, meters, and hydrants of $67 million, water services organization IT projects of $17 million, pump stations of $17 million, and reservoir improvements of $16 million. And then if we look at slide 24 is our water system O&M trend. And on here, comparing the 18-19 estimate to 19-20, we see O&M costs increase approximately $44 million or 8%. And at the top, you can see operating support. Again, this is water system share of the joint organization. Infrastructure and water system is the next category, and the major changes in that they're relatively comparable to the prior year. Each one has about less than $10 million increase, with some of the bigger ones coming from the customer accounting. That's part of the O&M support for water system, and water conservation is an additional $6 million from the prior year. And then the next slide, this is something we talked about last time, but the department really has done a lot to try to decrease our purchase water costs. So slide 25 has a trend chart showing back in fiscal year 14-15, we were spending $273 million in purchase water. Our proposed budget for 1920 is $174 million. I think since 1415, MWD has broken the cost between a readiness charge and a full water you're purchasing by itself. So you may see that purchase water cost is a little bit higher, even though the gallons we're taking may be lower because we have our readiness to serve charge we have to pay. And then just one item, page 26 is our overall staffing plan. So for fiscal year 1920, we're proposing a staff of 11,187 employees. And you can see the breakdown by Power Fund, Water Fund, and the joint organization with a total budget of $2.5 billion. That includes our labor, overtime, and our benefits. And the benefits is basically retirement and health care, which is a 60-40 split for the organization.
So staffing costs don't figure into your water and power budgets as a separate budget here?
They're not a separate budget. They're part of serving the overall functional category, but it's something we just want to bring to your attention. This is our staffing plan.
So are those also contained within the numbers you showed us?
Yes, they are.
Okay.
Yes. And one item that on page 27 is, as I mentioned, we do this plan in accordance with our 5-year rate action. There are some changes between what we had planned for contracts versus labor. And compared to the rate action, the proposed labor funding for fiscal year 1920 is $136 million higher than the 18-19 incremental labor funding, resulting in a cumulative $592 million increase for all the areas of the department. This change has no impact on the approved rates, as various offsets in the contracting services were made to maintain the revenue target. So we may have had additional staffing requests, but we've looked for budget offsets so that we can still meet the rates that were aligned, set out 5 years ago. And that's slide 27.
I'm sorry, I don't clearly follow this slide. So if you go back to the previous slide, you speak about 23% of our employees being eligible to retire. However, you don't state how many people will be replacing that workforce, and I just don't follow you as to why there's an increase in labor cost.
Well, the increase in labor costs is really, we're going to replace all the people that are retiring.
Do you have forecasted numbers? So 23% of existing department workforce will be leaving. Do you have estimates as to?
They won't be leaving. They'll be eligible for the first 3 months of this fiscal year, which is when most people do retire. We've seen about 300 people leave. But we do have our eye on the ball. What we're doing is we're finding staff when we know someone's retiring and they have a key position, have somebody shadow them so that we don't drop the ball on any activities. So compared to last year's budget, we have a net increase in our head count of 285 positions, and that's to help us move the ball forward in all the programs that we're working on.
So, and that fully explains the increase in the labor cost?
Well, the labor cost increase is based on the staffing that we're showing here. So
Reggie, can you go to slide 27, please? Thank you.
Slide 27 wasn't to explain the increase in labor costs, but to explain that while we are increasing our labor, we are working within our 5-year rate action plan. Because over the years, it's been brought to the attention of the board that we are increasing our head count over what we had anticipated. And the way the department mitigates that is we look for offsets in contracting or other budget dollars that we don't need to spend. And I think this is something the Office of Public Accountability wants to make sure there's transparency on. Yeah. That when we have head count, we're not going above our financial plan. We're making sure we stay within those dollar targets.
Yeah, I appreciate your elaboration. I think this would resonate with me more if I had tangible head counts to understand for the increase. But that being said, I'm glad that you're being careful about what you're forecasting. But I do think that before expending that money, we need to explain it to our ratepayers.
And I think, as what the general manager said, as we go through, we can talk about accomplishments and then maybe take some of those breakdowns in head count as to where they're in each system, where they're going and what those new employees are expected to do.
Great, thank you.
Thanks. And to just add a little bit more to your comment, you'd expect in an average year about 3% of your staff to retire. And as Ann said, it's growing with 25% now, and it's going to be about 40 to 45% in the next 5 years. Many times when you just have the normal turnover, you won't replace a position before the staff retires. But because there are so many and we're trying to do a knowledge transfer, we are looking for a period of time of a little bit of a bubble where we are kind of having two people fill the same positions as one trains their successor. And then that situation should resolve itself within about 5 years as kind of we do go through a big retirement, and then we'll come back down and not have positions that are, I call them double filled, meaning two people in one position because one's brand new and one's about to retire. So it is kind of a transitionary kind of a strategy until we get back to that normal kind of retirement level in what's probably around 5, maybe at the most 10 years.
Okay. And not that it's so material, but for somebody who's shadowing an expert here at the department, do they get paid a different salary or do they get paid the same salary? Just out of curiosity.
They're usually at the bottom of the range, and then the tenured person is at the top of the range. So as they come out, this person moves up as they grow in knowledge throughout their salary
That
range.
makes sense. All right, thank you.
Dr. Pickle?
I think this is the matter that Commissioner Noonan raises is something we want to comment on in the subsequent budget discussions that you've mentioned we will be having. But I think it's important to point out that while the annual personnel resolution number of positions is not changing very much, capital spending is expected to grow by $350 million. And O&M is growing by about $130 million. So that means they're probably filling more of those APR or annual personnel resolution positions in this process. But understanding that and actually accomplishing capital goals will be important. The step up in capital is a fairly large step up in capital, and they're going to have to hire to accomplish that because of the cuts in contracting.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Other comments, other questions? Well, that's a very good start and very much appreciated, and there'll be more.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Council?
We still have item 9 and 10.
Oh, we do have a couple of items.
So much fun we can do it again.
Just a second.
So agreeable.
Financial Services Organization Monthly Activities Report for December.
The December report's in your package, and I'd be happy to answer your questions.
Any questions? Investment report for the quarter ending December 31st.
Again, that report is in your package. We did discuss it, I believe, at the last investment committee, the first meeting in February, but I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions? Is there a motion to approve the minutes from the board meeting of February 26th?
So moved.
Second, those in favor?
Aye.
They're approved. Now, council, are there magic words for adjourning, or do I just adjourn?
You just said them.
We're adjourned.